Hey everybody, it's the Mad Master here. I'm doing another video today. Basically, it's wrapping up a series of videos that I've done about the ridiculous celebrity bullshit that I've been following, which is the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial. I keep watching video after video and stuff like that, and I just realized, like, a lot of people may not understand my focus on it, you know. And I'm just going to put it this way. I've been around people like both of them in certain ways my whole life. Like, I was reminded that in a comment on YouTube, you know, of all things, that like something happened, like Amber Heard said Johnny Depp's daughter was like pretended like she was like closer to her than she was and all this stuff. And I remember this incident with a certain relative and a certain step relative that they had, I'm not going to give away too much in this video, but it's basically like she hadn't seen this person for years and really was not involved with their life. But she was in this public place, and my relative was working in this public place, you know, serving drinks or whatever. And this step relative had basically introduced to her friends as like that they were closer. Like acted like that. And I just realized, like, this type of behavior, these types of weird things that happened to Depp happen a lot in my, you know, with people around me, and just certain situations. People have had to face a lot of that kind of stuff, and not only men, of course. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, it's just been a lot of different types of dynamics that have come into play with people that are bipolar or histrionic or whatever you want to call it, and have drug and alcohol problems. So I think a lot of this stuff just seems so familiar to me, and it didn't get as extreme as someone losing their finger and ever around me, but you know, it's just been quite a thing. I heard about something else though. Another incident happened that a friend of a friend, or a friend of a friend of a friend, had stabbed someone in, you know, it just like, I'm not going to say just a situation. I'm not going to say, I'm already giving it too much away if people know me, but this is a long time ago. This girl stabbed this guy, and like, if you knew who the guy was, like, it didn't like there didn't seem to be a reason why this happened. And it's just like this type of behavior, this type of weird, you know, dare I say, a lot of it's of the feminine type. Not always, but there's a certain type of thing, certain type of manipulative thing that men do, but it's a different breed than a lot of the types of manipulation that women do who have these kinds of personality disorders or problems. So it's really weird because, I mean, I've known both men and women that have had certain problems, but you know, the whole thing is this passive or lazy guy, you know, may or may not have drug or alcohol problems, and then the wife or the girlfriend may have them too, or whatever, or may or may not. And there's this dynamic that happens. I've seen it happen with people just in various situations, even friends and stuff. Like I said, like, I've seen just weird dynamics between people and in these relationships. So I think it was like a mirror on a lot of the things I actually grew up with too. Like I've mentioned before, his personality, Depp's personality, I can identify with some of it, obviously, for various reasons. But I can also identify, like, I've been around people that have been like that or have had those types of issues or those types of things. So like I was watching a show today about how people, or purportedly, like it was oh, just celebrity garbage, like they were downplaying the whole thing. It's like, well, the reason why I watched the trial is not only because I think it's interesting people, you know, especially, well, Depp is I don't think Amber Heard's that interesting, but I mean, obviously from a mental health point of view, you know, being someone that's into looking at mental health and stuff, she's definitely interesting. But like, it was just fascinating to see this. And I just saw a lot of parallels with a lot of people that I've known, family, friends, extended family, whatever, as far as a lot of the things that happened. So some of it really hit close to home, and I'm not going to say exactly everything in detail about this, but I could just see, like, and hit close to home with me as well. Because I was actually on this woman's, this girl's YouTube, where she was talking about attachment styles. And during my last long-term relationship, I started looking into the attachment styles thing. And I was like, oh, I'm probably an avoidant attachment style. And I don't know if I've always been that way, but I think sometimes it comes out worse with certain people, your attachment style. Maybe it's a little more balanced with certain types of people, depending on what they do. If you have to do more, if an avoidant has to do more work, they become a little more balanced, I guess. You know, there's been certain women that I've been with where I have to do a little bit more work than usual because they're a little more passive. Usually they're not, though. That's the majority of them are not passive at all. They're usually like the opposite, and I'm just kind of I'm passive is what my point is. So the avoidant thing, you know, it's like him wanting to get the separate hotel room so I can go escape, you know, all that stuff. I remember my very first girlfriend, and her mother was had issues, and things were going weird. So her brother lived in the basement. I'm probably not going to talk to these people ever again, so I may as well talk about it because they don't want to talk. Certain people do choose not to talk to me for various reasons, or choose to be very two-faced about certain things with regards to me. So I'm just like, fuck it, you know. Apologize to me, I'll talk to you, blah, blah, blah. But I'll probably never see this video anyways, because like I said, a lot of people do watch my YouTube. Like, some people do that I know, but certain people don't. There's just like, don't want to watch it for whatever reason. It's really more of a personal thing. So, God, I feel weird talking about this. But anyways, I would go escape, you know, into the basement with him, my friend, you know, because we later became more friends after me and this girl broke up. And it was like I was was that avoidant behavior? You know, I was trying to get away from all this stuff, and you know, other things happened. Like I would turn off my phone during, you know, when I was dating someone for, you know, and a lot of it's anxiety too. But you know, I had this weird, you know, this attachment style that actually a shrink turned me on to it simultaneously as I was reading about it, because I was reading this Neil Strauss book, the what's it called? God damn it, it's over there. It's the sequel to the game. The sequel to the game. Not the book in Succession, you know, as far as Succession. So I was reading about that, and I realized like I might be an avoidant attachment style to some extent, because I'll avoid things, and even with family, like I get nervous about various things, and you know, just kind of avoid things sometimes. It's just kind of a trait that I developed over time, or it's not a good trait to have, obviously, in relationships or as you're doing things. And I even got worried today because I was talking to like it's like 3 girls online for over a series of days, and they didn't respond. I'm like, did I miss it because my avoidant thing like makes me only respond at certain times and stuff like that, and I worry about it. But the point being is that I saw a lot of parallels with Depp and how he does things in his life, and like not the drugs, because I'm not into drugs, you know, not, you know, or alcohol. You know, I get heartburn from a couple of beers sometimes, you know, I can't fucking, you know, it's hard enough for me to do beer. And I almost flipped my brain off. I mean, I almost flipped out when I was on an edible. So it's like, you know, I can't really do drugs. So, I mean, I like, you know, a little bit of this and that here and there like that, but it's harder for me to do that. I think my brain chemistry is actually worse now with some of that stuff than it was when I was younger, because obviously your brain changes, especially on SSRIs. But anyways, that's enough about that. So yeah, I identified with him quite a bit, you know, and I've seen this happen. Like I've seen this in relationships. Like the guy will get more and more, let himself go into alcohol or drugs and just like escaping. He just kind of goes on his own. And I'm not saying all those are situations a woman was like Amber Heard, especially, I mean, I can think of a couple of situations where there absolutely were, the woman was fine, right? But I could see like this is kind of a male hetero cis, dare I say that, trait that happens sometimes. You know, it's fucking Homer Simpson, you know, personified. It's like this stage in the relationship, you know, after the power struggle stage where you're just like, you know, and you're less attracted to your partner because the what's it called, the oxytocin gets out, you know, isn't as developed, you know, you just have to, that's where usually, like, in between that, the romance stage and like the power, or after the power struggle stage, if you don't have kids or have some creative thing, this is just how relationships work according to sociologists and psychologists, then the relationship is troubled if you don't like start a business or have a kid or something like that, or have something you're mutually focused on. I'm just speaking as someone who's read about this shit over and over again. So I can see this thing, like the guy gets lazy and he doesn't, as it happened to my brother too, honestly, I'm just going to be honest. Like he got lazy. And speaking of that, I'm going to talk about some stories about him, maybe in a next, not the next video, but one of the next videos maybe, because people have expressed interest in hearing about this stuff. So, you know, he got lazy, he gained some weight, and he was watching, you know, my niece and stuff, like she was a baby and stuff, and like he was home, she was working at a job, and they, you know, things went to shit, and then he got falsely accused possibly by this woman. See, what I've seen this shit happen over and over again, like all these weird situations, all these weird dynamics, and I relate to some of these situations too, like I said, like, you know, so seeing this thing was just like, wow, you know, these millionaire people can still have the same problems as the ordinary person. I think that's one lesson we have to learn from this. It's like, it doesn't matter how rich you are, how famous you are, you can still have these problems that are, I mean, sometimes they're more immature than regular people. Some of these people, I'm obviously, and Depp's like a kid, like the way he talks a lot of the time, you know, and he's like, I'm not saying he's not developed, but like, he's like a kid. And I was listening to some of these recordings, you hear snorting. I mean, he's definitely doing some coke, but which I would never do. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. I just thought I'd put that out there. That, you know, this is the reason why that I'm so paying attention to this, is because there's so many different aspects of this case that I've seen. Domestic violence, I've seen, you know, familial, I've heard of stories from relatives about other relatives. I've seen these types of people. I've known relatives that were like, dare I say this, I've known relatives that had some of the personality traits of Amber Heard too. And I've had people, friends, and, you know, like a certain, I'm not going to mention who this is. I'm just going to try to be a little more anonymous, but a certain girlfriend of mine definitely had this like manipulative kind of thing about her. Not my ex, not my most recent ex-girlfriend, not anybody in the last 5 years or anything like that. I'm just going to say, and I'm not, you know, just to say, this woman had very much these personality traits. People who know me really well probably know what I'm talking about, but I don't give a fuck if people say this is bad, this talk. I'm not. My memoirs will be released about this stuff too, but and I'll probably change the names to protect the not so innocent. But I've known people like that, you know. Thankfully, I didn't get in a weird situation like that. Just as far as some of those traits, some of the types of traits, not that many, actually, just a couple of traits. And then other girlfriends have sort of that same trait, like this sort of codependency, or they say that they did. There's just all these different dynamics. I've known a lot of people over the years that have had so many of the same traits. I, you know, went to high school. I went to an alternative school here that had many people that Depp was pretty much like that kid that was like, he was kind of studious, but he also did drugs on the weekend. You know, he went to this, you know, he's very artistic, and, you know, it's just like these kids that I grew up with. I mean, so many kids that were like that. Calling him a kid is weird, but just like what the kid would be like years later, I could tell, because I could just tell, like reading about his upbringing and stuff. So absolutely fascinating stuff. So that's why I watched it. That's why I was so deeply embedded into that. I watched so many videos about that. 30 hours of the trial, probably, period. It's kind of disappointing that a lot of the media is starting to turn on him just for dumb reasons. And they didn't even, it seems like they didn't even watch the trial. But anyways, that's about all.